Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to start on my Emory interview, which was actually my very first interview that I received and that I did. I have some notes over here, so if I'm looking over there, I hope it's not too annoying. I have a little Excel sheet with all of my specific dates and things. So I submitted my application on the 24th of May, which was my first application, so I needed to get verified by the CASA. And that really only took a couple days, or maybe even just a day. It was very fast. I had no issues with getting verified. And so I also emailed Emory on the 13th of May, so like a couple weeks before I submitted, about how, just a clarification on the supplemental documents. If you go to their website, the official anesthesiologist assistant program website, they have information on how to apply. And then they say that they want these supplemental documents sent to a specific email. And this includes the application checklist, documentation of familiarity, which is the shadowing document, documentation concerning technical standards, background check, drug screen, release form, applicant statement, a passport size current photo, and then it just basically says step 8, complete and submit the Emory supplemental documents. This will activate your Emory file. Email updates will follow. It has all of the documents that you need linked onto this website. So it's not hard to find any of this stuff. It's not difficult to do any of it. And you also have to pay a $65 non-refundable administrative fee. I just basically clarified that, hey, do I basically just need to submit these documents to this email and I'll be good kind of question. And then I also had a question about their requirement for medical terminology, which was new this year. And they said that I could do it on Coursera. I got an email very quickly, which was nice, that basically saying yes, this is correct. You need to submit these when you submit your CASA application. And so that's what I did. When I submitted my CASA, and I got the verification email that my application was verified and sent to Emory. And very quickly, I think the same day or so, I got a email that my items were received. That was the headline of the email. And it was an interesting email. I'll show you a picture of it. So basically just says items needed if applicable. And then it lists some items. So it says acceptance documents received, acceptance/tuition payment, in parentheses after acceptance. Then it goes application statement, application packet is in review, in parentheses official use only, application packet is incomplete, official use only, criminal release background form, drug testing release form, Emory supplemental application. You get what I'm saying. So, and then it goes items received. So I get that very quickly. I think I send my supplemental information, the more items that I need to do on that same day. So this is as I'm submitting my application. So they're very fast with it. It's very clear what you need to send. And if you have questions, you can email them and they're very quick to answer, which is amazing. So then I send my medical terminology course certificate, application checklist, documentation of familiarity, doc concerning technical standards, background check, drug release form, application statement, and my photo. So I submit that on basically the same day that my application is verified. And just so you know, you can just submit them as PDFs onto the email. You don't need to make a zip file, which they didn't accept that form, which is fine. So just so you know, you don't have to overcomplicate things or anything. And my photo, I just kind of made a passport size photo from my graduation photo, which was just me in my head. And it was professional, it looked professional. So, and then I also, one thing to note is the background check, I had to do it through Castle Branch, and it cost, I don't remember the exact cost, but it was anywhere between $50 and $100. So that kind of sucks, but it didn't take very long for them to complete the check. So that was nice, I guess. So anyways, I submit all those documents, and then I receive another email that's the same items received. And so it lists the items needed if applicable again, and then some items, and they're all kind of acceptance documents and MCAT copy, which I didn't take, so I didn't need to submit that. And then TOEFL transcripts, and then it says in parentheses after acceptance. And then it says items received, which is the items that I sent. And it gives the date that they received them. And at the end, it says application complete. So it's a little confusing, but also very detailed, I guess. So at the same time, I guess it's not that confusing. I don't know. It was nice to, I guess, have all that info because they are kind of asking for a lot of things that are different from how other schools do things. My response to that final email about the items received, I said, thank you for informing me. It looks like I have given everything required for this stage of application cycle. And I just say, cheers, Carson McKenna. And then she responds very quickly, I think basically like a day and a half later. She says, yes, the committed has been selected. I don't know what she was trying to say there. Period. Reviews of completed applications will begin, and just look out for something in the emails in the next few weeks. And then all the best, and then her name. And that was on June 7th. Now, going to July 2nd, I got interview invitation. So that was amazing. I got it on July 2nd at 2 p.m. and it was really amazing. They gave a lot of details in this email, kind of about like the instructions on how to submit your slot and where to go and the timing. So it was really great. It really wasn't very complicated. And it was kind of like it was a Gmail account for, okay, it says using the link below, log into your Gmail account and go to the calendar. And that's kind of how you registered for your time slot. And you have to be kind of quick about this if you get this invite because it's first come, first serve. So things could fill up pretty quickly. And there aren't like a ton of days. So I think they do interviews like once a month for 2 of the days. At least this is how the 2024-2025 cycle went. So I got my interview slot for, I think, the second day of the first round. So my interview was on July 18th on the slot from 11:30 to 1 p.m. So there was another slot for 8:30, which I don't know, that was a little much. Like I took sleep physiology and I know how important it is to like make sure you have some space between when you wake up to when you have to do some hard things. So, the sleep inertia kind of effect. So I definitely wanted to do that. And I was coming from Dallas, so I was also an hour behind. So I submitted for that. And there was another slot for, I think, around like August 8th time period that I could see. So I think those were kind of the options when I was on the Google Calendar form. And that was basically it. I mean, they had all the interview invite invitation. They gave a suggested hotel, which is literally right next to the building. So I kind of suggest that. I stayed at the La Quinta Inn, which was just like it was like an 8-minute walk. It was very close, but I don't know if I'd suggest that. It was cheaper, but it might be worth it just to do the one that's the closest by. It's called actually, I don't remember what the hotel was, and it doesn't say on here, but they give you a link and stuff. Anyways, I don't know if I suggest that because I had to walk and there weren't really any sidewalks, which was, it was a quiet road, but it was felt a little weird to like walk without a sidewalk. And then it was a little bit hot because it was July in Atlanta. I just did some reviewing with the PA interview guide. I'll insert a picture of the book and stuff, which is what I've been using or what I use for all my interviews. And I think it was super helpful. And I did a lot of mock interviewing with my boyfriend. And I think I could have done a little bit more. I was definitely very nervous about everything. I was somewhat confident, but I was very nervous because it was my first interview. And obviously these interviews are important. So I wish I would have done some more prep to help with those nerves and, get practice explaining stories and telling stories and that sort of thing. I think also too, I was just maybe a little bit panicked about blanking on questions, which is totally normal. So I feel like I could have prepped a little bit more, but I'm not totally dissatisfied with how I did things. So I think that's all I want to say about the lead up to the interview day. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about the travel day, which was kind of a nightmare. So unfortunately, my flight got canceled. We were literally boarded on the flight, like on the runway, and it got canceled. So I was supposed to leave in like the afternoon, like around 2 p.m., but I ended up getting canceled. And I wanted to go to the interview so bad because I was nervous that they wouldn't have a slot anytime soon. And I just like I wanted an acceptance, right? I mean, spoiler alert, it didn't happen, but whatever. At the time, I didn't know that, of course. So I wanted to get to the interview, and I had to pay like $300 to get another flight out that day, which ended up going smoothly. And I got there around like 11 p.m. So my video, I like have little clips and things of me filming my like traveling to Emory. I didn't really capture the craziness of what ensued. Whatever. I mean, maybe I don't recommend flying Spirit on the day of your interview, but I don't really know it's the solution. I mean, it's hard to show up like a full day before your interview, just like money wise and work wise. But I guess if you can do it, I would suggest it. I didn't have any other troubles with my other interviews. It was just this one, but it was definitely not fun and very expensive. But I think that's all I want to say about that. Next, I'll talk about the interview day itself. Okay, so like I was saying, I was staying at the La Quinta, so it was a little bit farther than the other hotel, which was literally right next to the interview building. So I had to walk a little bit, and I was talking with my dad on the phone, just like relieve some stress, which I definitely suggest if you're an anxious person. So it also explicitly said don't show up more than 10 minutes before the interview is beginning, because I guess just to help with the flow of interview day, which I understand. So I was waiting outside the building for that 10 minutes before. I walk in the building and it's literally like totally empty. There's like nothing, no one's there, there's no signs. There's like construction going on. So it kind of looks like somewhat vacant building. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I in the wrong building? Because there's like nothing going on. Like I thought there would be like a sign like saying welcome, interviewees this way, like that sort of thing, like something to indicate that it was interview day, because obviously to me it's like a big deal. So I was like, oh my gosh, am I even in the right spot? Like I'm like looking around the first floor. I'm like, where is this? Like, where is the signs? Like, where are people? And so then I look back at like the instructions more, and it says like suite 300 something. So I'm like, okay, I guess that probably means the third floor, right? So I like try to use the elevator, and it's like taking such a long time. I'm like, is this elevator broken? Like, this is crazy. And mind you, like I have like this is all happening in 10 minutes because that's when they said for me to come. So I was like, okay, I cannot wait for this elevator. So I take the stairs. And again, when I get to the third floor, there's nothing, like no signs, no people, nothing. And I'm like looking around for the right suite. I eventually find it. And then, on the door, it says anesthesiologist assistant program department or whatever. I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm in the right place. And then I like knock on the door or like ring the doorbell, and someone comes and gets me in, and it's clear that it's like the interview day because there's like the two other applicants sitting there waiting, and I'm like, whew, like, oh gosh, like thank God I found it. But just be prepared for that. Like there was nothing to indicate that there was anything going on. So that was kind of like crazy and like definitely a panic moment. And I don't know, I guess I should just suggest showing up a little bit early. Like everyone else was there, right? So I guess they were a little bit early. So I had my little backpack with all my clothes and things, and the receptionist took that and stored it for me. So if you want to bring your suitcase, it's totally fine. Like they were very comfortable just taking it from me, and I didn't have to worry about it throughout the day. I mean, and I'm not going to go into detail, obviously, about the type of questions asked. It would not be fair to the integrity of the interview process. I think like I could really feel that they were really great interviewers and like knew what questions were great to ask. So I was definitely impressed, and it was a great first interview to have for me. Like it definitely made me feel more comfortable and confident with how the interview went. So it was super efficient, which I definitely appreciate. And I would come to appreciate even more when I did my other interviews, which you will know about that if you've watched those videos. But I think I wish I would have seen a little bit more about like the program. Like the area that the program was in was literally just one level of one building. So it was very small. I mean, it was nice, but it was very small. So I think that was surprising. And maybe I wish they would have maybe given a little tour of like the medical building, like for the medical students, because they said that we have access to that. So I guess that would have been nice to see. And it was just like literally, I think the building next to the anesthesiologist program building. So that would have been nice to see. So I think that's really all I want to say about the interview day itself. So now maybe a little bit how I felt about the interview day, like how well I did. But I definitely felt very positive and optimistic after the interview. Like I was like, oh my gosh, that went so well. And oh my gosh, like I'm totally going to get accepted. Like that sort of like confidence. And then as the days went on, I think the rush of the interview kind of wore off and I was like replaying all the questions and all my answers. I think I felt a little bit less confident after that. So I think now looking back with some time past, I think I did pretty good. I mean, some of my answers were okay. I mean, they could have been better. Like I think back to a couple questions that maybe I was like not thinking of completely. I was like kind of narrow-minded in some aspects, which is hard to explain because obviously I'm not telling you like the specific questions, but I don't know. I think I did okay, but I think Emory is such a great program and they're very selective that, you know, they're taking not that many students. I mean, all programs are not taking very many students. So I don't think I did terribly, but I think a lot of the applicants are great. So I think that's something just to keep in mind. Like, don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, I definitely took the things I learned from the Emory interview into how I prepared for my other interviews. But I don't think I did terribly. Like, I think it's easy to think that you did bad when you don't get the acceptance. Oh, yeah, I guess I should say I got waitlisted. But I think it's easy to like beat yourself up and think, oh my gosh, I did so terribly. But I think in reality, just like people did really well. Like a lot of people did really well. And maybe I just didn't do as well as them. And obviously, we're not all the same person. Like they're going to have different things in their application that make them more attractive applicants. So it's just the reality of the situation. I guess I kind of gave a spoiler to the actual result of the application. So obviously I said my interview was on July 18th. They kind of alluded to the fact that this application or this interview slot was very early and that we should expect to get a result end of August, basically. So usually they're a little bit faster with when they give out decisions, but I guess because ours was so early, they were just letting us know that it might be a little bit later. I exchanged Discords with the people I interviewed with. And I knew a couple people that also interviewed at Emory kind of around the same time period on the Discord channel. A lot of time went by. I think it was the 15th, around then of August, when people got accepted that were interviewing around the same time as me. Well, I was like, oh gosh. So I knew I didn't get in and I received an email. So now I'm not sure if I just got straight out rejected or if I'm waitlisted. So I got an email in the morning of August 26th. So quite a bit after my interview date. And it's basically just, it says, thank you for your application and your participation in the Emory University School of Medicine Masters of Medical Science Anesthesiologist Assistant Program interviewing process. The admissions selection committee will be making decisions as well as we process through our 2024-2025 application cycle. During this time, we will promptly notify candidates via email of any changes to the status of their application and our final decision. Please continue to monitor your email and CASA accounts for updates. Okay, and then they say if you have an acceptance to another program, and you no longer want to be considered at Emory, let us know. Basically means like you're on the unofficial wait list, right? I was obviously a little bit upset. I continued to receive this email, basically the same email, about every month since the application. So I get the next one in September, I get the next one in October, next November, and then in January. Yeah, and I mean, they're basically like the same type of email. Yeah, I mean, said in a slightly different wording, but the same email. I don't know, like it's hard to know like how often people are getting off the wait list. I was told during the interview day that they do a rank list. So they rank all of the applicants after the interview, and people get notified their acceptances based off of the movement of that rank list. So I know for sure in December that they gave out some rejections. So I don't think really anyone got rejections. They were just kind of put on this unofficial wait list thing. And then I know in December that some people got rejected. So I wasn't one of those people. So I guess like I'm not super low on the rank list. I don't really know. Obviously, they're not super transparent about that. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's a really difficult thing to do, like to be on the wait list and not knowing your rank on that wait list. That's a really hard position to be in, especially if you don't have any other acceptances. And I think I didn't really have much traction in the application, the AA application in general, until early November. So that's a long, long wait period, right? So it was a really difficult time for me, as you can imagine. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. And I think what's important is just trying to like manage that stress any way you can, doing the things that you enjoy, trying to live your life as normally as you can. And I don't know, really just knowing that you're not defined by the results of the application cycle, as hard as that can be to internalize, but it's really true. And I mean, thankfully, I was able to get accepted to a program I love, but I know that's not the same, not true for everyone. I saw on the Discord that some people got off the wait list in like April and June. So I don't really know. I don't really know what to expect on the wait list. And I know people post things on the Discord, but I haven't really seen people post that like they got off the Emory wait list or anything like that. But it's obviously impossible to know because not everyone's on the Discord, not everyone's posting things. So yeah, it's really hard to know for sure. And I would say this is a side note, this is like completely random, but I would just be mindful of what you post on Discord about your feelings. I know this is like so hard to say and kind of sucks, but I know it's a hard time. It's so hard when you're on the wait list for some school and you don't have any other prospects. But just be mindful that there are ad comms on the Discord, and especially Emory ad comms on the Discord. So I would just be careful. For instance, there was a girl that just was trying to make kind of a, I don't know, like a joke comment that just said like, "Oh, Emory and I are in like a toxic relationship because I'm on the wait list," and something like that. Like, kind of joking, but I mean, it was truthful. Like, I'm sure she was struggling a lot with that. And it wasn't, she didn't say anything inappropriate in my mind, but the ad comms said something, like responded to her post, or I don't know, her comment, and just said something like, "I'm sorry that you're feeling this way. Like, we don't mean to make our process, they don't mean to make you feel this way. But if you're feeling too bad, then maybe you should consider like withdrawing your application from Emory." And I was like, oh my God, that is so harsh, right? Like, geez. And her name and everything was her Discord profile name, like her, I don't know, her username. So it's like pretty clear, probably they can figure out who she is. And so I was just like, no, that's so bad. And it just kind of sucks because like the Discord is kind of supposed to be, I don't know, a place where you can connect with others and relate to them. But that is the reality. Like there are ad comms on there. So just be mindful of what you post on Discord. I think maybe it's best to kind of maybe not post a lot on Discord. Just be it positive, basically, and informative, than really try to be joking. And so I think that's all I want to say about my interview experience at Emory. I have some craziness getting home as well. Like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk about it. But it was, my flight got canceled again. So that kind of sucks. Maybe that was like a sign that I shouldn't go to Emory. I have no idea. But Anyways, I had a great experience at Emory, and even though it didn't go, the results weren't what I wanted, I still felt like I learned so much from that interview day, and I really did appreciate the efficiency and the friendliness of all the staff there. So thank you for watching, and I will post my NSU interview experience next. So have a lovely day and hope to see you again soon. Bye.